Hello, Scorpios, and welcome to this, your February 15th through February 29th reading and predictions. Yes, you heard that correctly. February 29th. This year is a leap year. So much is changing. And based on your last reading, there's a lot changing for you guys as well. So, before we get started, for those of you who are new here, thank you so much for trusting and clicking on this video. And for those of you who are returning, thank you so much for continuing to support this channel. Stick around all the way until the end. I do have an opportunity for you to ask a question that requires a yes/no answer. So, I will be doing that part of the reading at the very, very end. Now, let's dive into your reading. The last reading I did for you covering the time frame from February 1st to February the 15th, you had the Eight of Swords come up 3 times in your reading. You had blindfolded characters come up in your reading, indicating there was something that you weren't seeing that you needed to see in order to be able to make some kind of a change or shift. And the Eight of Swords represents this sense of feeling like you're trapped, feeling like you're bound up and you don't have a way out. But the Eight of Swords is also an accountability card. And I know a lot of people are going, oh my God, I'm just turning this off. It's just going to tell me I'm accountable and I'm responsible. I'm not listening anymore. Unfortunately, having the Eight of Swords come up 3 times in a reading is an indication that there is something that we're not paying attention to in our own lives that we need to take responsibility for. So let's move on. Let's dive in and look at where are we going. We're going to go over here. We're going to look at where you are at now here as I do this reading for you in the middle of February. Oh, we had a card almost jump out and then it go right back in. So, Scorpios, where are the Scorpios at now? There's one. Oh, interesting. All right, so it looks like we are going to be reshuffling a smaller portion of the deck because we do have a number of cards that decided not to sink back into the deck. Quite a number of cards. So, look at all those cards. Look at all those cards. Scorpios, where are you at now? What's going on with you? We have 1 or 2 cards for Scorpio. There's one. Okay, so we just have the one card that has come out, and it would be the Awakening card. This card corresponds to the Hanged Man from the traditional tarot. You'll notice the character is upside down, despite the fact that all the words are right side up. So it did come up in the right side up position, indicating that there is something that you're not seeing. You are seeing things from a perspective that you have always seen things, Scorpio. And with all of the changing energies that we have experienced and the shift out of Pluto and Capricorn and Pluto moving into Aquarius and moving into the age of Aquarius, moving out of the age of Pisces, and all of these shifts that have been happening, including a lot of the shifts that have been happening, even if you're not into astrology, and to be perfectly honest, I dabble in astrology and I look at the very large energies, but I don't look at astrology daily or anything like that. But if we look at the very large energies that are influencing not just us personally, but everything that's happening on our planet in the last 4 or 5 years, there have been significant changes. There have been significant shifts, Scorpio. And in order for us to be able to adapt to the changes and shifts that have been happening, we have to see things from a different perspective. We can't still live our lives the way that our parents did or that our grandparents did. We cannot continue to see things through the lens of the past. And that's what this card is talking about. It's about us changing our perspective, taking blinders off, and seeing a bigger picture as well. And so, this card coming up for where you are at now, Scorpio, is indicating that this is the beginning of this shift. So you have from your last reading with the Eight of Swords constantly appearing, as well as the blindfolded characters in the tarot appearing in your last reading, you are moving into taking those blindfolds off, taking the blinders off, and being able to really go, how did I not see that before? Right? I can't tell you the number of times in the last 3 years that I have heard that from clients and friends alike going, where did I not see that? Okay. And so I do sense that you are seeing that at this point as well. Now, I am getting called over here for your next readings. This is the Angels and Ancestors card, your deck, and that one fell all the way onto the floor. For what you are focusing on, what you are working towards manifesting at this time. Okay, we've got 2 cards out of this deck. Right. So excuse me for just a second while I climb down onto the floor. Okay. So the first card that came out for you is the Lady. This is the card of enjoy growth and reap rewards. So this does represent the divine feminine that we all know so much about. It does ask us that as we're experiencing this awakening and this hanged man, as we're seeing things from a different perspective, that we do approach things with a feminine approach as opposed to a masculine approach. And I'm not talking about men and women here. I'm talking about masculine energies versus feminine energies. um, the masculine energies have a tendency to be quite forceful at times, as well as very intellectual. They approach things from the mental mind. And the feminine has a tendency to approach things with a more gentle approach, as well as approaching things from the heart or from that place of emotion. So at this time, this is one of the things that you're working towards manifesting, is that feminine aspect of yourself, as well as developing okay, this word is coming in for me, as well as stepping up into your own goddess. Now, regardless of whether you identify as male or female here, this is about stepping up and stepping into the power of the goddess as opposed to the power of the god. The power of the god, as I mentioned already, is quite intellectual, and things tend to be very black and white when you are dealing with the god. And when you're dealing with the goddess, things are a little bit more gray. They're a little bit kinder, a little bit more gentle, and we think from the place of the heart. Okay, so this is what you are working towards manifesting. And the other thing that you are working towards manifesting at this time, Scorpio, is the Mirror Guardian. Take time to reflect. So this card coming up in your focus, it indicates that you are working at carving out time for yourself, carving out time to really see things from a different perspective, right? The only way that we can see things from a different perspective is if we do take time to reflect and we take time to go within. The other thing I want to point out, again, you have the representation of the divine feminine on this card. Yet again, tap deeply into that gentle side of yourself. If you have made a commitment to yourself for quiet reflection every day, whether you call that quiet reflection, whether you call that meditation, if you have made that dedication to yourself and you skip a day because life just got in the way and it got crazy, be gentle with yourself. It's okay. Pick up again the next day. If you had made a commitment to do 20 minutes a day and you only managed to sit for 10 minutes in quiet reflection, don't beat yourself up. You still made that effort. Okay. There was something else I was going to say about the lady. I do want to point out as well that the lady here is holding an apple. An apple is an aspect of life when we're looking at the spiritual side of things. And this apple has 5 seeds in it, representing the 5 elements. Okay, so make sure that whatever practice you are doing, you are acknowledging the 5 elements. Okay, we have fire, water, earth, air, and spirit or ether. Okay, make sure you are acknowledging all of those, right? Many of us have been, and this is part of the awakening and seeing things from a different perspective, that there are 5 elements, not 4. And when we add that extra element in, it adds that extra je ne sais quoi to our spiritual practice. Let's take a dive into your difficult influences and challenges at this time. For Scorpio, difficult influences and challenges for the latter half of February. Okay, so we just have one card that has leapt out for us. Let's take a quick peek. We have the 4 of Cups here. Okay, 4 of Cups. So the 4 of Cups is one of those cards of, and in fact, in which deck is it? I'm not sure which deck it is. It's a card of quiet contemplation. It's a card of seeing things from an imbalanced perspective. You'll notice here that you've got this cup over here, and it's filled with sunshine, rainbows, unicorns, and all of this beauty. And over here, there are 3 cups, and the character is pointed towards the 3 cups, kind of going, oh, well, not very happy with this. Okay, not recognizing that there is something beautiful there, and there's an imbalance there as well, being that it's portrayed with 3 on one side and 1 on the other instead of 2 and 2, which would create more balance. So Scorpio, with regards to this new fresh awakening that you're experiencing, this being able to see things from a different perspective, and the 4 of Cups coming in your difficult influences, it's an indication, Scorpio, that right now you may be focused on the old way of looking at things, and directly behind you or slightly hidden, there's something brand new. You're just not seeing it yet. Okay? Let's take a look at messages that the universe wants you to hear at this time. Mhm. All right, we have 1 card out for messages the universe wants you to hear at this time. Just the 1 message, I guess. Okay. So, the 1 message that the universe wants you to hear at this time, Scorpio, is ask for guidance. Now, given that you have the awakening card or the hanged man, that's about seeing things from a different perspective, and you have the mirror guardian here, take time to reflect. Both are an indication that there is a call within you to be able to reflect deeper, go within. And so while you are practicing your meditations, your inner guidance and work, ask for guidance. Okay. Sometimes one of the things we think about when we do a meditation, Scorpio, is we think that we have to sit there quietly, we have to shut our minds down, and we have to wait for answers to come. But the reality is we can also ask. We can ask for help. We can ask for guidance. And this card is not just about asking for help and asking for guidance from ethereal beings. It's also about asking for help and guidance from our friends and family, asking for that time to reflect, asking them to respect your boundaries so that you can fully embrace your new spiritual practice and so that you can fully embrace this newfound vision of, seeing things from this newer perspective. Um, you know, the other thing I want to point out is the message on this card is enjoy growth. So as you're experiencing this awakening, actually be in the moment and enjoy it. I'm getting this sense, I'm just getting this psychic download for you right now, Scorpios, that a lot of you are thinking, why didn't I do this sooner? How did I not see this sooner? And there's this falling back into, oh, I would have, could have, should have. And when you go to that place, what you're actually doing is diminishing the lessons that you are currently awakening within yourself because you're beating yourself up for something that the timing wasn't right. Trust in the timing of the universe is what's coming up for me to share with you psychically right now. Trust in the timing of the universe. The reason that you didn't awaken to see things from a different perspective sooner. The reason that you were perhaps more caught up in the masculine energies, the intellectual energies, rather than in the emotional heart energies, is because you just weren't ready yet. And there is absolutely nothing wrong with that. Your spiritual development, your path that you are currently walking, is not a race. It is not up to you to compare to someone else who perhaps started this similar type journey 6 months ago or 6 years ago. This is your path. This is your journey now. So fully embrace that. Be in the moment. That's part of taking the time to reflect, is being in the moment now and fully embracing all of that now. I'm getting called over here to move on to your unexpected. Unexpected for Scorpio, latter half of February. Mhm. Okay, so the first card that came out is the Seven of Wands, Seven of Fire. It is also known as the Stress card. And it's a card indicating that you are perhaps putting a little bit too much stress on yourself about this spiritual development. I mentioned already this, oh, I promised myself I was going to do 20 minutes a day and I only did 10 minutes a day. And then you beat yourself up about it. What does that cause? Stress, right? Be conscious, be aware that some of the stress you may be experiencing at this time, Scorpio, may be self-imposed. It may be something that you have brought upon yourself because you have set expectations upon yourself that weren't reasonable. Okay. For whatever reason, I've got this sense that you're comparing yourself to someone else and their spiritual journey. And you're like, there's nothing wrong with wanting to strive towards improving yourself. There is absolutely nothing wrong with that. But when you are doing it in such a way that you are comparing yourself to somebody else's journey, you're diminishing your own abilities. You're diminishing your energy by comparing yourself to someone else. And you are also causing stress because your journey is different from theirs. So, Scorpio, Take a step back. This is your journey. Take time to reflect, see things from this new perspective, and allow some time to pass as you adjust to these new energies as well. The other card you have in your unexpected is the Five of Pentacles, Five of Rainbows. Now, this is a card that in the more traditional tarot may indicate possibly some financial difficulties. But in this particular deck, this is from the Osho Zen deck, this card has a different meaning. And this is the card of feeling like you are an outsider, feeling like you don't fit in anymore. Here's the reality, Scorpio, you do. And if anything, you fit in even better now than you did 2, 3, 6 months ago. Why? Because you've had this awakening. You're taking time to reflect. You are living in the moment. You're enjoying growth. You have integrated that there are 5 elements, not 4, into your practice, which is only accelerating your growth. You may feel like an outsider temporarily until you find your footing in this new awakening. And you find new community as well as you go through this process, Scorpio. I'm willing to go out on a limb and say that for some of the Scorpios out there, 6, 8, 10 months ago, you would not have even been watching a video like this. And if you were watching like videos like this, you were still in the closet and not watching these videos openly and publicly. You were yeah, okay, spiritually. Oh, meditation. Okay. Because you were surrounded by people who were still seeing things through a very focused lens, through an indoctrinated, dare I say it, indoctrinated lens. And for whatever reason, you've had this awakening. You're seeing things differently. And you're going, wow. But some of your friends and family are going, wait a minute. Who are you? Where did you come up with these ideas? It's making you feel a little bit like an outsider. Is that a bad thing? Absolutely not. Embrace it. Hold on to it. You will eventually find your tribe and find others who think the way that you do. And I am predicting that there's likely to be a shift in your circle. These cards are all indicating there's going to be a shift in your circle of friends in the coming days. Nope, I'm going over here. Okay. Final general overall outcome for Scorpio for the end of February. Oh, and on the floor it went. And that one went on the floor too. Okay. Here we go. In your final general overall outcome, you have the Queen of Wands. I'm kind of laughing and smiling. Don't remember specifically. For those of you who are not aware, when I do readings, I go into a little bit of a trance. And so that's why I have to check my notes with regards to the beginning of my readings as to what went on last month, because when I come out of the trance, I don't remember a lot about each person's reading. That's kind of advantageous for privacy concerns when I'm doing private consultations with clients. But I think you guys had the Queen of Wands in your reading for the beginning of February. I could be wrong, but I think that you did. Now, the Queen of Wands is in a position of authority, but the Queen of Wands is also the only queen that has a cat. And this cat is It's said to allude to a spiritual awakening or an awakening into the spiritual arts that this queen represents. And your whole reading is all about your awakening into the more spiritual arts. The Queen of Wands is represented by the element of fire. She is also the queen of action. Light a fire under her butt, she's going to move. So this is also a call to action for you guys. What else can I say about the Queen of Wands here for you? So the Queen of Wands, like I said, is about action, about taking action with regards to whatever you have going on. And I've got this download coming in, and I'm having trouble verbalizing it. How am I going to verbalize this? So for some of you, you are looking at it and saying, I'm getting called to take time to reflect. I'm getting called to tap more deeply into my heart center and come from a place of emotion. I'm getting called to ask for guidance. And then I get this Queen of Wands who's strong, powerful, independent, and she is the queen of action. Well, if I'm sitting around for 20 minutes a day in meditation, how am I taking action? That's the old way of thinking. That's the indoctrination that I was talking about when I was talking about this five of rainbows over here, this outsider card, right? That's part of the indoctrination. That's part of the what we were told in the past. Oh, meditation is just a waste of time. Really? Because most people who practice meditation will tell you it's not just about spiritual development. It's also about being able to clear the mind so that new ideas, fresh ideas can come forward, so that you have the opportunity to be able to see things from a different perspective, to have this awakening. And I believe that part of the reason that we've been told for so long that meditation was a waste of time and something that only gurus and yogis and weird people did, part of the reason we've been told that is because meditation is so powerful. And so this Queen of Wands and her black cat are reminding you of how powerful your spiritual practice can actually be. And now moving into the final card of your reading, you have the Strength card. The Strength card is the card that reminds you of how powerful you really are. A lot of people don't see themselves as being powerful, but you are. You have an inner strength within you. Think back to something that you've gone through, Scorpio, that in the moment you were going, oh my God, how am I ever going to get through this? How am I ever going to survive this? Whether it was a breakup with a partner or whether it was a job loss, whatever. And you, in that moment, thought, I don't have what it takes to get through this. And yet here you are today. And here you are, awakening, seeing things from a different perspective. You are taking that time to reflect. You're no longer afraid to ask for guidance. Sure, you feel a little bit like an outsider, but that's actually a good thing. Embrace that as well. And you're stepping up into the power of the Queen of Wands with strength. I'm going to leave off your reading there. All right, Scorpios. Think of your yes/no question. You have a burning question that requires a yes/no answer, or a question, that's perhaps not yes/no, but you might want to word it in such a way. And are you ready? Because the card jumped out. All right, Scorpio, in response to your yes, no question, you have this response. Let go. Okay? However that resonates for you, that is your response. Okay. I'm going to leave off here. Thank you so much for joining me and watching all the way until the end. If this video resonated deeply for you, please consider hitting that like button and subscribing to the channel. And also, if you are interested in having a private consultation with me, all of my contact details are down below in the description. I look forward to having the honor of doing your next reading for you at the beginning of March.